All right, so we're diving into this incident report from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office in Virginia today. And let me tell you, this one is a doozy. I'm going to cut my own dick off. I can't handle this shit anymore.
I know, right? You think you've seen it all, and then bam, something like this lands on your desk.
Okay, so picture this Clearbrook Park, beautiful summer day. Two friends, Jaygo and Kenny, are just hanging out making jewelry with hemp and crystals. Seems pretty chill, right?
Deceptively chill. This is where things take a turn for the bizarre, and trust me, you won't see this coming.
So according to the report filed by Officer Kelsie McCow, my throat, Jaygo decides to insult Kenny's mother.
Oh, boy.
And not just any insult. He tells Kenny his mother's built like a submissive and breedable Tonka truck.
And there's our catalyst.
Yeah.
Kenny, understandably offended, retaliates by hitting Jaygo with a fire opal, one of the crystals they were using for their jewelry.
Now here's where it gets weird. The impact somehow ignites Jaygo, like full-on spontaneous combustion.
It's an incredibly rare phenomenon, but certain types of opals, especially fire opals, can generate a static charge under specific conditions.
Wait, so you're telling me?
It's theorized that the force of the impact, combined with the mineral composition of the opal and potentially some environmental factors, created a spark with enough energy to ignite Jaygo's clothing.
Okay, but fire opals starting fires? That's some X-Men shit right there.
It's definitely unusual, but scientifically plausible.
All right, so Jaygo's running around on fire,
Yeah.
and Kenny's lapping his ass off.
Yeah.
Not the best friend move, Kenny. But then Jaygo tackles Kenny, setting him on fire, too.
Panic and chaos ensue. They're both on fire, stumbling around, and in the process, they knock over their box of crystals, which then get superheated.
And this is where the body count starts to climb. These superheated crystals start exploding like tiny fiery grenades launching into gas stations and nursing homes across Winchester.
The incident report lists 32 fatalities and countless injuries. It's a stark reminder that even seemingly harmless activities can have devastating consequences.
32 people dead. Because these two knuckleheads were playing with crystals and trading insults about each other's moms. This has to be the whitest shit I've ever seen.
It's a tragedy, no doubt.
Yeah.
And the absurdity of the situation only amplifies the sense of loss and the questions surrounding responsibility and accountability.
You're ignorant for that. You know that.
It's important to approach this situation with sensitivity and recognize the gravity of the consequences, regardless of the circumstances that led to it.
Fuck you. So we've got two idiots who accidentally caused a mass casualty event.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Yeah.
Because you know this shit isn't over yet.
Oh, this is just the beginning. So we lift off with Jaygo and Kenny having accidentally caused a major disaster with their crystal-fueled rampage. Now you'd think they'd be facing some serious legal consequences, right?
Well, this is where the story gets even weirder.
Yeah.
A week after the crystal explosion, Jaygo decides it's time for some payback. He hatches this elaborate plan involving two 55-gallon drums.
Oh, no.
One filled with mac and cheese, the other with mac and cheese-flavored sex lube.
Yes, you heard that right. Mac and cheese flavored lube. Apparently it's a niche market, but it exists.
So Jaygo gets Kenny super high, challenges him to a mac and cheese eating contest, and then swaps out the real mac and cheese for the lube while Kenny's blindfolded.
It's a deviously clever plan exploiting Kenny's impaired judgment and his love for mac and cheese.
And Kenny, being Kenny, falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. He downs the entire 55 gallons of lube, thinking it's the best damn mac and cheese he's ever tasted. I mean, you got to give him points for commitment.
His dedication to the eating contest is certainly admirable, albeit misguided.
But here's the kicker. All that lube starts to have, shall we say, an unexpected effect on Kenny's digestive system.
It results in a rather forceful expulsion of gas, to put it delicately.
Delicately. The dude farts himself all the way to Russia, like a lube-powered rocket propelled by ass gas.
It's a highly improbable scenario defying the laws of physics and human physiology.
Improbable. But hey, this whole story's improbable. So Kenny crash lands in Russia, gets picked up by some Russian soldiers who are understandably confused, and ends up becoming Putin's newest form of entertainment.
Which in this case involves being forced to participate in breakdance battles against Putin's pet bear, Becky Necky Pecker Recki VII.
Becky Mecky Pecker Recki VII? Are you fucking kidding me with this name?
That is, according to the report, the bear's actual name.
Okay, I'm calling bullshit. Someone made that up.
While it's an unusual name, we have to consider the possibility that its genuine Russian culture can be quite eccentric.
Eccentric. This is some next-level shit right here.
Yeah!
So Kenny, who's in a wheelchair, mind you, is forced to breakdance against a bear with a ridiculous name. What could possibly go wrong?
As you might imagine, it doesn't end well for Kenny. He's repeatedly set on fire, mauled, and generally humiliated for Putin's amusement.
Man, that's messed up. Even for Putin. So while Kenny's getting his ass kicked by a breakdancing bear in Russia, what's Jaygo up to?
Well, initially, Jago's feeling pretty good about his prank. He thinks he's taught Kenny a lesson, but then he starts to worry. He hasn't heard from Kenny in a while, and a nagging sense of guilt starts to creep in.
Guilt. Jaygo. Now that's a twist.
It seems that beneath his prankster exterior, Jago does care about his friend. So he does what anyone would do in this situation. He checks Kenny's Facebook page.
And that's where he stumbles upon videos leaked from some shady Russian military website showing Kenny's ordeal in all its horrific glory.
The videos depict Kenny being forced to perform degrading acts, suffering injuries, and generally being treated inhumanely.
Talk about a reality check. Jaygo realizes he's gone too far. His prank has landed Kenny in a real-life nightmare.
It's a turning point for Jago. He knows he has to do something to right his wrong, and so he makes a decision that will change both their lives forever.
He's going to Russia to rescue Kenny. Now that's what I call a bro move.
It's a bold and reckless plan, but Jago's determined. He books a flight to Moscow, packs a bag with some essentials, and embarks on a mission that's equal parts absurd and heartwarming.
Okay, I gotta admit, I'm starting to root for these guys.
Yeah.
Even if they are complete morons.
Their story, despite its absurdity, highlights a fundamental human truth, the enduring power of friendship, and the lengths we'll go to for those we care about.
All right, so Jaygo's off to Russia to save his lube-farting, breakdancing buddy from the clutches of Putin and his ridiculously named bear. What happens next? I can't wait to find out. All right, so last we left off, Jaygo was on his way to Russia to rescue Kenny from a fate worse than death, breakdancing against Putin's pet bear, Becky Necky, Pecker, Reki the 7th.
It's a mission that seems doomed from the start. Jago's facing a heavily guarded Kremlin, a language barrier, and the unpredictable whims of a dictator with a penchant for bizarre entertainment.
But hey, this is Jaygo we're talking about. He's not exactly known for his conventional thinking. So how does he plan on getting Kenny out of this mess?
Well, according to our sources, Jago's plan involves a shovel, a lot of determination, and a complete disregard for international law. He decides to dig a tunnel.
A tunnel under the Kremlin? Is this dude serious?
It seems so. And somehow, against all odds, he manages to pull it off. He spends days, maybe even weeks, secretly tunneling beneath the Kremlin, fueled by a steady diet of beef jerky and energy drinks.
I guess when you're motivated by the thought of your best friend being forced to do the worm for a bear wearing a pink tutu, you could accomplish anything.
It's a testament to the power of friendship, albeit a slightly misguided and potentially illegal one.
So Jaygo emerges from his tunnel covered in dirt and smelling like a week-old gym sock, and what does he find?
He finds Kenny chained to a giant golden dildo statue in what appears to be Putin's private garden.
You can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
A giant golden dildo. Seriously.
The report doesn't offer any explanation for the statue's presence, leaving us to speculate on its symbolic significance or perhaps Putin's unique taste in garden decor.
I don't even want to know. So Jaygo frees Kenny from his golden shackles, and they make a run for the tunnel, right?
Not so fast. Just as they're about to escape, Putin shows up flanked by his security detail.
Of course he does. This wouldn't be a proper deep dive without a dramatic confrontation. So how do they get out of this one?
This is where things get a little messy. Remember how Jaygo ate that ice cream cone before entering the tunnel?
Yeah, I was wondering where that was going.
Well, it seems that ice cream, combined with the stress of the situation, had an unfortunate effect on Jaygo's digestive system.
Oh no, don't tell me.
He lets loose a fart. A very loud, very potent fart right in Putin's face. And as luck would have it, he'd also managed to smuggle a lighter into the garden.
He set Putin on fire with a fart. Holy shit.
While the report doesn't explicitly confirm this detail, circumstantial evidence suggests that Jaygo's fart, combined with the open flame, created a momentary distraction that allowed him and Kenny to escape back into the tunnel.
Okay, that's just brilliant. So
Yeah.
they make it back into the tunnel, but it's collapsed, right? What happens next? Do they dig themselves out?
Not exactly. Remember those 55 gallons of mac and cheese flavored lube Kenny consumed? Well, it seems they had one final unexpected effect.
Don't tell me he farted them out of there.
Precisely. Kenny, still suffering the after effects of his lube-induced gastronomic adventure, lets loose a fart of such epic proportions that it creates a shockwave blasting them out of the collapsed tunnel and launching them into the air.
And they land in...
China. Somehow, Kenny's super-powered fart propels them across continents, landing them in the middle of rural China.
This is getting ridiculous.
I agree. But the report clearly states that they spend the next month and a half in China enjoying the local cuisine and engaging in what can only be described as culturally insensitive behavior.
Oh no, what do they do this time?
The specifics are redacted, but it seems they caused quite a stir with their offensive remarks and general disregard for local customs.
So not only are they international fugitives, they're also terrible tourists.
Classy.
Eventually, they manage to make their way back to the United States, leaving behind a trail of diplomatic incidents and bewildered locals.
And that's it. They just go back to their normal lives. No arrests, no consequences. The report ends abruptly at this point, leaving us to wonder about the long-term repercussions of their actions. Did they face legal charges? Were there international inquiries? We may never know.
It's almost disappointing. You'd think a story this crazy would have a more satisfying conclusion.
Perhaps the lack of closure is part of the story's charm. It leaves us to ponder the nature of truth, the limits of human experience, and the enduring power of friendship, even in the face of absurdity.
Well, I guess that's our deep dive for today. A tale of two friends. A crystal-fueled disaster, a lube-powered fart rocket, a break-dancing bear, a giant golden dildo, and a whole lot of unanswered questions.
It's a reminder that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, and that even the most bizarre events can reveal profound insights into the human condition.
Or maybe it's just a story about two idiots who got lucky.
Uh-huh.
Either way, it's been a wild ride. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, folks, always be careful what you say about someone's mother, especially if they have a fire opal handy.